Hello and welcome to this week's Rugby League Coach Analysis video. My name is Lee Addison from rugbyleaguecoach.com.au, taking a break this week from analysing Hull Kingston Rovers and their quest to win the World Club Challenge game against Brisbane. But don't worry, we'll go back to them in the coming weeks. We'll have a look at their defensive structures, their offensive structures, etc. This week, I've decided to take a look at the London Broncos. For those of you in Australia, you'll know who the London Broncos are because Darren Lockyer is part of a consortium that's taken them over. And Regan Campbell-Gillard plus some other NRL quality, Papua New Guinea international and Super League quality players have also signed for them. They played against Widnes in round one, and that game is on YouTube in full because the London Broncos videoed it if you want to access that in full. And thank you for providing that for us, London Broncos. Look, having a look at the Broncos, because they're such overwhelming favourites for the competition this year, because full-time environment, a lot of NRL and Super League quality players, you've got to look at where they're not perfect. Again, I always stress I'm looking from a coaching and analytical point of view rather than a critical point of view. And there are some weaknesses. There are some things that Widnes found, even though they got beat soundly in the end by London Broncos. There's some things that Widnes did that caused the London Broncos problems, and London didn't have it all their own way, and it's just a bit of light at the end of the tunnel for the teams that play against them. To put this game into some kind of context, Widnes finished outside the championship playoff spots last year. They've done some recruiting in the off-season, but I think it's only 2 players with Super League experience. The rest came from other championship clubs. London Broncos recruitment, all Super League and NRL quality players. So let's have a look. Let me share my screen. The thing that really caught my eye when I watched the London Broncos, resplendent with Super League and NRL quality players, is the quality of their exit set, so coming out from their own end. The Broncos in blue, very often in this game against Widnes, got to the halfway line with 2 or 3 plays, just playing direct like this, tight from the ruck. As you can see, they are marching up to the other end of the field quite easily. It's allowing their fringe players, their edge players, to look up and start analysing the defensive line in comfort, knowing that they're getting plenty of go forward, and allows the kicker time to put in a really nice kick to pressure the Widnes back 3. Here's another example. Starts off a little bit slow. They are receiving the ball from Widnes' left. Like any other team, if you kick to the right as a defensive side, so making London Broncos go left to right, they are a little bit down on their metres on that side, but it's not significant like it can be with some other sides. So here we have 3 plays and they've got to the red line. The 4th play, great go forward there. Of course, this is a side that has Regan Campbell-Gillard in and players of that calibre. On the back of that, they've just played a little bit of football, and that's what having good go forward allows the London Broncos to do. So definitely any team that plays them this year is going to really have to try and stop their go forward, because at the moment, against Widnes, everything is going in their way. They're getting go forward quite easily. Even though the ball went to the Widnes right, then London Broncos number 1 there has brought it to their right, so Widnes is left, and again this just plays into London Broncos' hands with exit. So obviously if the fullback returns the ball so well, 2nd tackle, 3rd tackle, and they are well over the halfway line. Look at this, it's allowing the number 7 to come in. Again, a little pattern from the number 7. He's getting hold of the ball after 3 tackles each time, so that's something that opposition defences can look for. But what's good about this is, because of the go forward generated, they had lots of room. We're going to look at how this emerged again, because it was an exit set, okay? But because, like I said, the go forward is so good, the halves are able to override. They've got a big overlap here. Widnes only have 3, maximum 4 defenders covering a space where they should be more, and the halfback is able to just dummy and go to a defence that is overcompensating. Now London didn't have it all their own way in the good ball area. This is a set very early in the game, and this would be a little bit of concern for me if I was coach Jason Demetriou. So they've brought the ball to the right of the field. And the next play, I would expect them to go to a scrum line to settle. That's a little bit laboured, and the problem there is, because the halfback got the ball and then tipped it on, they actually struggled for room and struggled to get goal forward. So the Broncos are on the back foot now, so they're clearly trying to generate some goal forward. What they've just done there is take another hit up to the middle of the field, so they've laboured from the right touchline back to the middle of the field. So Widnes can easily deal with this, even though they are not obviously of the calibre of London Broncos 1-17. Just very direct, this good ball set. Very easy for Widnes to defend. There's not much go forward in this set from London, and I think that stems from the setup early in the set. I'm going to take you through it again once we've completed the set so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But as you can see, tackled on the last play. So from this position, so this is the first tackle, if you remember, from the scrum. I would expect either the half to come in really flat and move the ball backwards a little bit to a forward running onto the ball, or send a forward directly in, or get an outside back to do a scoop. But instead what happens is the half comes in, it's a little bit laboured, his catch and pass wasn't great, and the Widnes defence is allowed to get into the front rower's face there. So my apologies, it was a bench player. I think he's a front rower. It wasn't a bad play, the ball, but London are going backwards and they're in an attacking zone here. So now they're just making efforts to put a dent into the Widnes line. But because they've gone from the touchline to the middle of the field, they've been easily controlled. So now Regan Campbell-Gillard has a carry. That's not bad. But again, the Widnes defence isn't going backwards, and now they only have to go back 5 metres. So this is a really laboured good ball set. And don't get me wrong, this was the first set of their championship season, so no wonder it wasn't perfect. But it just shows you that the London Broncos still have work to do, and they're not going to have everything go their own way all the time. We have some good ball a little bit later in the game. It was approximately 20 minutes later. So this is a tap penalty. So remember the concept of what I said about hitting a forward direct off a play the ball from near the sideline. The difference there, Regan Campbell-Gillard didn't have a half give him the ball. He just went himself with a nice hard carry. And look, Widnes are going backwards now. Admittedly, they've gone to the middle of the park again, so they've moved the Widnes defence laterally, and they're now going to a defence that is ready for them in terms of 5 Widnes defenders on the right side of the referee there. So they're not short, Widnes, but the half goes to the line, and I would say there's probably an issue there with the fact that the way they are setting up, London are moving the ball across. So when you are playing against the Broncos, I'll go back to the start of that set again. Regan Campbell-Gillard, look where he played the ball. He took the ball from a scrum line into the centre of the field again. So when you're defending against London, any teams in the championship, that you're probably not going to know that when they don't have momentum, they're probably going to try and set up in the middle of the field. And Widnes actually deal with this relatively easily. And it's London that are scrambling around to try and get some go forward of some kind, or some kind of break. So again, another example of London not really clicking in attack yet. That said, they've looked at an opportunity here. The 7's gone to the line and pushed the ball outside him, and because of the strength of the right centre, they managed to score a try. Now, this is the important thing about quality players. You can have poor sets and your team will still score tries because of quality players. I'm doing a free course for rugby league coaches, and it's called Coach Your Best Season Yet. It'll be a webinar on Wednesday the 18th of February 2026. There'll be 2 sittings of it, one in the evening in Australia and another in the evening in England, which will be Thursday morning in Australia. All details will be in the accompanying words with this YouTube video. Another standout element of the London Broncos is their aggressive defence when the opposition are coming out of their own exit. Great collision, great ruck control there, very dominant. The peel-off relatively efficient. The defence, I mean, already, if you're an opposition team, you can see that London have got the defensive split a little wrong. They're a bit short at the top end of the screen, if you have a look. So there's something in that which you will see as I go through the rest of this video now. But London, very aggressive when the opposition are trying to get out. Widnes had a lot of trouble trying to get out of their own area, playing direct football like this. What they've got to do is try and do a mix of of direct and moving the ball sideways, and you'll see why shortly. But Widnes labouring to get out. I mean, this is their first carries of the game, and they've managed to make something in the region of 35 metres. You know, the markings in England are a little bit different. Again, London very aggressive in their defence. I like the push-pull in the ruck area there. They weren't wrestling against each other in that regard. Very good shoulder contact, dominating the contact line, and good ruck control on the back of it. Very physical. Again, with quality footballers like the London Broncos have, it's going to be hard for some of the part-time teams to compete physically, so we should expect this. Now, Broncos did lose their shape a little bit there, but Widnes ultimately are struggling to get the ball out, just playing nice and direct. So they do move the ball a little bit, and there's a little hint in that there. Even though Widnes ended up getting caught with the ball in their own area, there is a hint in what they've just done, and it will become clear soon. Another exit set for Widnes, and London were very good at this, even though their sets didn't click in attack straight away, even though they won the game by 40 points eventually. They were very good at pinning Widnes down to the opposite end of the field and keeping them there with big solid defence like this, but you may have noticed their shape is just coming loose a little bit at times. And another thing that happened is occasionally they got ill-disciplined, so when you have an aggressive defence, the margin for error is obviously a lot smaller. You go in to hit somebody hard, and you could literally get your hit slightly wrong and give away some kind of high tackle. But again, look how Widnes are struggling to get out. They seem to pick up on this, and they started just moving the ball laterally a little bit. And what I think teams playing against London need to do, so from this juncture here, you'll see they've just done what we call a +1, which is a half giving the ball to somebody towards the middle of the field, and then the number 13 has done a +1 too. That was an awful +1, but the difference is London Broncos players now are now trying to catch. And when I say catch, I don't mean catch wrestling. They're actually literally trying to catch so that they don't run past them, the Widnes players. And they're a lot less aggressive, London, all of a sudden. Have you noticed that? Because players aren't running directly at them. There's number 13 again, getting himself involved. But everything in this Widnes set is lateral, moving the ball sideways, and they're finding some holes in the London defence. So my advice is to have a combination of these two things. Now, when you go, if they'd have gone forward at times like the hooker did there, that helps you get momentum as well. So you can't do everything lateral all the time, but Widnes are onto something there. Here's another example of them doing that, and again, they're coming out of their own exit areas. If you go directly at London and play the ball quickly, I think they will be a little bit ill-disciplined in the middle of the field and give away some penalties. Most rugby league teams can be like that, to be quite frank. But if you're prepared to be patient, do a few +1s and then a few direct runs on the back of good play the balls, I think you can cause London trouble, because when they have to defend and move laterally, they can be left a little bit behind the 8 ball defensively. So don't get me wrong, they defended it, they stopped it, but if you make good footballing decisions on the edges of the London Broncos defence, it's not the best edge defence I have seen. It is the first game of the year that we're looking at here for them, so with plenty of chances to improve it, but there's something in those last few clips there for opposition teams. Soon you'll see Widnes attacking up the other end of the field and how they scored their tries. And again, a nice direct carry to the scrum line, and from there Widnes are going sideways, and it's not a bad option. It's moving the London defence around horizontally, and as a result somebody appears to have made a tackle that they probably shouldn't have. So because Widnes are moving them around and not running directly at them, London are now giving away the odd penalty. So, again, there's something in this for opposition. So they essentially have a repeat set. It's only a few tackles. But what's going to happen now is Widnes are going to kick for touch, and they're going to have a set attacking London Broncos on their own goal line. Now, one thing I've noticed a lot of teams do, and don't forget Jason Demetriou was an NRL coach, they like to give away penalties when they're defending their own line. I think that's paralysis by over-analysis. I'd rather them just defend a set of 6 and get the ball back. Instead, some teams are trying to give away penalties on purpose. Here, once again, Widnes are doing +1s, and they are trying to get the Broncos moving sideways, who are still trying to do some ruck control. But you will find soon, after all the pressure Widnes put on them doing this, that eventually London get a little bit ill-disciplined, and sometimes I think they do that on purpose, like I said, to to reset their defensive line to give away a 6 again, but I do think that's paralysis by overanalysis, and their right edge in particular can be a little bit questionable. Now, I just want to analyse this try a little bit again. There's no way on earth this try should have been scored. Look how he stood up, and he's not down, he's not low. Is it number 7? I think number 7's a passive tackle. I don't know who this is stood over the top, but he's not getting low. He's number 7's on the ground. My apologies to number 7. But he's just stood over the top, and he's not doing anything to stop the player putting the ball down. So it was really lazy defence there. So there's definitely some things that London will be working on in the next few weeks, but definitely things that some of the part-time teams in the Championship can really target. There's them giving away the penalty in exit again. So they've got this ill discipline in them. You may have read some stories that Regan Campbell-Gillard got in a little bit of trouble for one or two things. I'm not sure what the penalty is. Oh, yeah, the second effort there. But Regan Campbell-Gillard got spoken to by the referee. So London's response, because they were defending physically, was to try and be even more physical at times. And like I said, the margin for error sometimes is a lot smaller. Widnes got some joy from just pushing the ball a little bit, +1. Getting to arms rather than shoulders, spaces not faces, using footwork at the line. And I just think Widnes weren't patient enough at this at times, but then I also think London came over the top because of their better players and sort of full-time arrangements. So look at the break that Widnes just made there, because the edge defences of London are sometimes being too aggressive and jumping out of the line like they are now, and if you miss that or somebody gets an offload, your defence ends up short. So it's not the smartest edge defence I've ever seen. So teams have things to have a go at during this Championship season, and they shouldn't necessarily think it's a done deal that London are going to win every game. This isn't the most pretty football I've ever seen from Widnes. Here's a dropout. So it was because of an error from fielding a kick, so it's not a repeat set. And Widnes are obviously looking for a launch pad there. The way he ran it looks like they might be looking for a pass post situation maybe, which is somewhere between the scrum line and the first post, and they're wrapping their set across the field there to go back, which is a common tactic, and they're working over the middle of the London defence. Questionable forward, but as you can see, it's people going to the line and tipping the ball on. It's moving the ball sideways. A sideways run here, and the London players can't tackle full on. They're getting passive tackles in, or they are getting arms in like Regan Campbell-Gillard did there to get a penalty against them. So there are things that London Broncos need to work on and that other teams can exploit. And I hope you've noticed that every time London have given away a penalty, it's when Widnes have been exiting fast, or they've been moving the ball somewhat laterally and getting London to chase them. So as you see, just move the ball a little bit sideways against the London Broncos, get the balance right between going forward and sideways, test their edge defenders, and also put their lateral defence under some pressure. And Broncos are going to have it's going to be tough if the Broncos are going to win this competition, put it that way. They're not going to steamroll all opposition. I think they won that game heavily just because of the calibre of players that they have, though, right? So if two teams go at it and they're quite competitive for a while, if one of them is part-time or they've not got as much experience or quality on the field, then in rugby league, the more experienced team and the better quality team tends to get over the top, and that's what I think happened. Broncos got a lot of tries from momentum, and that just shows you that rugby league is a game, like I always say, of motion and emotion. You've got to create that go-forward scenario to open up the defences out wide. Keep an eye out for the analysis videos each week. Also, please join us for the free coaching webinar on Wednesday the 18th of February. 2 different time slots to help people in the northern and the southern hemisphere. It's all free. All details in the YouTube description. Take care.